Hi, welcome back. I'm Bill Griffith, and I've gone through a series of these TJBots to embody the Watson Developer Cloud services. And this is an exciting recipe called Building a Talking Robot with Watson Conversation. I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to point to my FAQ chatbot that I built in an earlier YouTube and show you how to get this robot answering questions on behalf of users. So voice interactive, sort of like an Echo, an Amazon Echo or Google Now, except you get to train it on what it responds and what it understands. And so you could imagine, this little robot being in a pediatric dentist where kids could interact with it, and it could be trained on the specific dentists that are in that office, the hours of that office, could answer questions about teeth and cavities and things like that. All very easy to do with the IBM Watson services. And then the TJBot is just a physical rendition of that. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is go into our conversation service and copy the default config, which is just a template to get started with, to config.js. And if you look at this conversation source code, you'll see that it's looking for a config file of JS, right? This is Node.js. And then it's going to pull out the workspace ID. It's going to enable the microphone and the speaker, and then turn on some logging. And so you can configure it there. Now in this case, it's hard coded. If it, to start with this, we don't really need this. We're going to use the chatbot from Watson Conversation. And then there's a function called listen, which is part of the TJBot library. And then if it starts with the name, so you address it with the wake word, then it opens a conversation or a chat with the Watson Conversation, and then it speaks back whatever the response from the conversation is. Okay, so now we got our config, so we need to edit it via config.js. And it needs a bunch of different things. So let's go in here and get the username. And we do that by going over to conversation. Here's a conversation. Let me show you my dashboard. And this is the one I built before. Let me show that real quick here. Bill Griffith, YouTube, IBM FAQ. All right, so here is the video I built on building an FAQ chatbot. Very simple use of conversation. Obviously, you can do a lot more dialogue. This is more of a question and answer, but very easy, quick to set up. So that is this this conversation. You see, I can have others, and in here I will go in to this conversation and get the credentials and the workspace ID and things like that. So in here, I have the credentials. I'm going to copy the username, copy that, go back to my config file and paste it. Do the same thing with password. Paste that. All right, now I need my speech to text. So actually, while I'm doing that, let's do this workspace ID. So you see it also needs a workspace ID, so let's go get that now since I'm working on conversation. Go back to manage, go to launch the tool, and I'm doing this BPM OC click the three dots, view details, copy the workspace ID. Actually, I didn't get it all, so let's copy the whole thing. Copy. Now go back to my text editor. Sorry, I'm already in insert mode. Paste. And that looks correct. Okay, good. So now I'm going to go down to my speech to text. Let's go get that one. Close the tool. Go back to my dashboard. And I'm looking for speech to text. Let's go into that. And this is the one I used in the previous demo, but I can use it again. Credentials, username. Got too much there, but. And make sure you get this correct as speech to text, not the text to speech. We gotta do that one next. So username, paste. You see I got an extra quote in there I don't need. Oh, let's delete the quote. Now let's get the password. Insert, paste. All right, and we need one more service, which is text to speech. So the conversation is going to come back with text, and we want the TJBot to speak it to us. We want it to tell us to speak out loud acoustically. So we have speech to text, but we don't have text to speech. So I'm going to go to the catalog. I'm going to go text and text to speech. There it is. You see the choices with IBM. You can have these voices. You can even customize, so you can have your own sort of acoustic model. Very cool to provide a more tailored voice response system. So I'm going to create it. The light version, which makes it nice for development. Just leave the default names and go into my credentials, create a new one, expand it. Let's get the username, copy that. Go up here to the username, insert, do paste. And now we're set. All right, so now I can save this and jump back over here to my instructions. So it says copy that in, do the speech to text, text to speech, last stop, copy your credentials, did that. Conversation flow I've already done in my previous YouTube. Did the workspace, and now we're ready to do it. Let's go over here and let's do sudo node conversation. Watson, hello.
I didn't understand. You can try rephrasing.
And you see it's speaking back. So let's go to my console and see what it understands. Conversation BPM, and go into the tool. There's the FAQ, the dialogue, Watson, what is a user?
A User is anyone with access to the IBM Business Process Manager on cloud service, concurrent or authorized users. This includes authors or designers, testers, administrators, and end users. Users in your account are tracked on the admin tab of the portal.
Cool. So it understood that. Let's see another one. How about capabilities? Watson, is BPM on cloud the same as BPM on premise?
Yes, IBM Business Process Manager on cloud has the full capabilities of IBM Business Process Manager on premises that are compatible with IBM Business Process Manager Express, IBM Business Process Manager Standard, and IBM Business Process Manager Advanced. The process assets are portable.
Cool. So there we have it. We have configured the conversation to use our FAQ bot and answer questions for us. Now we can interact with it and do various things like that. Like I said, in the children's dentistry, could answer questions. You could train it for jokes. So you could, in your conversation, you could say, add a new one called joke. Actually, I got to add the intent. Let's say, tell me a joke. Right? And then you can specify the ways they could ask that. Tell me something funny. You can say, tell me a joke. I want a knock joke. And then you would go into your dialogue and specify if it detects that intent, which is tell me a joke, then you could respond with a joke. Okay, so they've asked me to tell them a joke. So I'm going to say, let's do a chicken. How about why did the chicken cross the road? Right? So that's what it's going to ask back to the user. And then we're going to wait for an input. We're going to wait for the user to say something. So what I need is a child node, because now I'm into a conversation. I'm a dialogue. It's not one way. So if I recognize any response back from the user, then I'm going to give them the answer or the response to the joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because KFC was on the chicken's side of the road. So he's trying to get away from the KFC because he doesn't want to be dinner. And so that's ready. And now we can go over to our chatbot and test it out. Okay, so let me resume this here. Watson, tell me something hilarious.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Watson, why?
Because KFC was on the chicken's side of the road.
Haha, funny. So there you see, I asked it to tell me a joke. I actually did not. I actually asked it to tell me something hilarious. And though I never trained it specifically on hilarious, I said something funny. I said a joke. But it understood that hilarious and funny are similar, and so it knew what I was asking, which was to tell me a joke. And then you saw in the dialogue, I specified, whenever the person comes back with a response, then reply with the joke. So no coding for this, the whole dialogue conversation, multi-step dialogue, all through just this easy to use web interface. So there you go. Thanks.